Let me tell you something most people won't say out loud. Brokerages don't scale because of charisma. They don't scale because of motivation, and they definitely don't scale because the market is good. They scale because of structure. Over the course of my career, I've helped lead and scale a brokerage to over $3 billion in annual sales volume, thousands of transactions, hundreds of agents, and massive growth. Not to mention coaching and working with all of the top performing real estate agents. And here's the truth. It is operational. If you are a real estate agent, team leader, brokerage owner, or even a business owner outside of our real estate industry, this applies to you. Because scaling is predictable, or at least it should be, and it ultimately leaves clues. Lesson number 1, recruiting is oxygen. Retention is blood flow. So most brokerages and real estate teams treat recruiting like an event, a push, a campaign, and a reaction when numbers ultimately dip. High growth organizations treat recruiting like a daily discipline. It's not, are we recruiting? Is recruiting embedded into the culture? When recruiting becomes part of leadership identity, growth compounds over time. But recruiting alone doesn't scale a real estate brokerage, because if agents walk out the back door as fast as they come in the front, you don't have growth, you have churn, which leads to ultimately lesson number 2. Culture is not pizza parties. It is a performance and clarity. People stay where they grow. They stay where expectations are clear and where leadership is ultimately accessible, where production is supported and culture isn't about being liked, it's about being in alignment with those you lead. At scale, ambiguity kills momentum. The brokerages that grow past 300, 400, 500 agents are crystal clear on 3 things: what they expect, what they measure, and how they support you to win. Which brings me to lesson number 3. KPIs drive scaling, feelings do not. I am deeply numbers driven and always have been. Agent count, listings taken, GCI per agent, appointments set, your conversion ratios. If you can't measure it, you can't multiply it. And one of the biggest mistakes I see real estate agents and brokerage owners make is confusing activity and busyness with progress. More meetings, more masterminds, more noise, but no dashboard. At 3.3 billion, we weren't guessing, we were tracking. And when you track the right leading indicators, growth stops feeling chaotic and starts feeling engineered. And lesson 4, leadership must evolve before the business does. You cannot lead 50 agents the same way you led 500. At scale, you move from operator to architect. And if you're still solving every problem personally, if every decision still has to run through you, if you are the emotional thermostat of the entire office, you are what I call a bottleneck. And scaling requires letting go of control in exchange for systems. That's hard for high achievers, I know, but it is necessary. And finally, the biggest lesson of all. Real estate brokerages don't scale because of superstars. They scale because of systems that ultimately create and support them. One top producer does not build an empire. A repeatable onboarding system does. A consistent accountability structure does. A recruiting pipeline does. And a leadership bench does. So when you stop betting on individual heroic efforts and start betting on replicatable processes and systems, everything changed. And any businesses that want to scale must ask, are we dependent on personalities or are we built on infrastructure? Because personality-driven growth is very, very fragile.